mentioned a young man named Joel Geller. He was a sophomore in the fraternity I was pledging my freshman year at Emory. He was an observant Jew. And when he was diagnosed with cancer and left school for treatment, he asked that the Jews in the pledge class make sure that there was always a minyan, always a quorum of 10 at the campus morning minyan, so that a special mishaberach, a special prayer for the sick, could be said on his behalf. What I didn't mention last week was that Joel passed away a year later. I didn't know him well enough to call him a friend. We had only a handful of conversations before he left school, yet with his simple request for us to make a minyan on his behalf, he forever changed the trajectory of my life. Joel's responsible for giving me the push that I needed to take my first steps towards seeing the value of a more observant life, towards understanding that Judaism wasn't just something that I felt, but something that I needed to do. Joel passed away before earning his degree. He had no professional achievements. He didn't accumulate a fortune or write a book or have an office wall lined with awards or certificates. So how do we measure his life? Well, I barely knew him. His fingerprints are on every sermon I deliver, every child I teach, every Jewish couple I stand with under a chuppah. And every time my 2-year-old daughter whispers the Shema, his voice is mixed in with hers. And we had less than 5 conversations together. Can we really be foolish enough to try to measure the impact of a life? And when we light candles in a few hours, our minds may drift, as they do every week, to those loved ones no longer standing with us as we bring in Shabbat. And whether they were taken from us in their 20s or in their 90s, it was still too soon. But let's not fall into the trap of trying to measure their life. Aside from what they did for us, there's probably a stranger or two out there whose paths intersected with our loved ones, maybe for less than 5 conversations, but they were forever changed, forever inspired, for having come into contact with the very people we so deeply miss. Shabbat Shalom.